Hope everybody's good. What is it, Thursday today? So excited to get to LA tomorrow. Should be a blast to get out there and pretty cool game. Go play the Coliseum. Go play USC Trojans. Our team's excited about it. We're excited about it. Really excited about how our guys practiced the last 2 days. Really, felt like we let one get away from us, and they came back even more hungry, more determined, and really fun to watch them go. So that was it's been good 2 days. Today we'll go out there and practice again. Yesterday we had a little Halloween for our players, so all of our kids were dressed up, giving them some candy, and be able to wish them all happy Halloween to our team, and then we'll get after it today, get on the plane tomorrow, and then go have a good Saturday afternoon.
Go ahead, Al. It's just Halloween theme. Do you remember your favorite Halloween costume that, as a kid, that you dressed up as?
Yeah, Buddy Ryan. When I was in, I think I went with it 3 years in a row, though. Third, fourth, and fifth grade. I was an Eagles fan growing up, so I was dressed up. He was the head coach at the time, so it was I think it was something like 87, 88, 89, or 86, 87, 88, something like that. So I think I went back to back. Buddy Ryan had the green sweater, Eagles across of it. Remember the old school sweater, headset on. So that was kind of my favorite costume.
Injury update.
Yeah, it should be the exact same depth chart as last week. The biggest question, I believe Gunnar Maldonado will be back. So he and JY will split the time on defense. The rest of the defense will be exact same. Offensively, both running backs are back, Wiley and Drake. So it'll be a four-man shuttle at that point in time. And then the only game time decisions will be Josh Donovan, if we can get him in for some reps. Keon Bars maybe as a game time decision, but that might be a stretch this week. And Bryce Woma, we got to just make sure that he's all good. Kind of got dinged in practice, but should be fine for the game.
Rich.
Jedd, can you preview USC on offense and defense for a pregame show?
Sure. Offensively, we know that Graham Harrell does a great job in terms of being able to throw the ball really all over the place. They've got an elite player in Drake London. We know that. Looking forward to that challenge for our defense. They've run the ball well. They've got players everywhere. They've got athletes everywhere on the field. We recognize the ability that they could score often, and we've seen that through the years. They got a very good quarterback from the state of Arizona. Slovis does a very good job of being able to complete balls, be able to stand in the pocket, make plays, and then obviously if they want to play Jackson Dart, looks like he's back also. So I know they got a freshman that they're expecting great things from as well, who came in that one time against Washington State and lit it up. So offensively, they're a challenge to deal with. Our defense will have to rise to the occasion. A little bit different offense than we've played this year. Very different than the last few weeks schematically. Defensively, again, dudes are everywhere over there. They got big, tall, fast linebackers and defensive linemen. I think number 99 is very similar to Thibodeau in terms of his ability as a pass rusher. Number 0, who's a true freshman, 5-star player. Got to be able to handle him if he goes in the game. He replaces 99. Chris Steele, I remember recruiting him as a corner when I was at UCLA in 2017, and he went to University of Florida, transferred back. Their secondary is very good. Safeties are active. Safeties make a bunch of plays. And they're a very aggressive style defense. Todd Orlando in the past has always been a guy that brings a ton of pressure, and I would expect that from him. And we got to be ready to be able to handle their up front guys, which has always been a huge thing for USC, and their speed.
Michael.
You mentioned Drake London, I mean, his numbers are insane. If you watch him play, it doesn't seem like he can be covered. How do you go about defending a guy like that?
I can't tell you that. Can't tell you how we're going to defend him. I mean, what I can tell you is that you have to know where he is on every play. You have to account for him on every play. How we account for him will be different. Obviously, we'll have our strategy there in terms of the best way to account for him. Clearly, everybody goes into the game, though, and wants to account for him. And yet, I think he still had 15 for 178 last week, or somewhere close to those numbers. So you've got to always know where he is. He's going to catch contested balls. So it's not like one of those that every catch he has is just he's wide open. So you're going to have to play through him and play physical with him. And then we've got to be able to come up with ways to minimize his impact in the game the best we can, also recognizing that it comes from a good pass rush as well.
When you're talking about all the talent that USC has, when you watch them, you sit there and wonder why they're 3-4.
Yeah, I don't know. I look at every team as, I worry about our team really in terms of when you look at records, and I don't really judge anybody or anything or what's going on over there. I know they've won a lot of games over the years. They've always been a top recruiting class. Clay Helton was there for years. They recruited to what he wanted. Was able to, put together the type of team that I think he wanted. So, there's just USC always is going to have a lot of talent. I mean, that's USC, right? And you got to be able to handle their speed. You got to be able to handle their physicality. You got to handle their size, and it's just going to be something that you got to deal with.
Right. When do you decide which alignments or plays to use a fullback as opposed to not? We've seen them a little more in the last few weeks, but what goes into the decision to having that back blocker in there?
During the course of the game, really it kind of depends on the type of fronts we're getting, what they're playing to our personnel groupings. Do we believe it's a way to get maybe a nickel off the field and put a linebacker on the field? Maybe it's a way for us to be able to kind of go more downhill rather than a zone scheme where you're bouncing it. Other parts of it sometimes comes with, you have more double teams when you have a fullback in because you have an additional blocker. So you have the ability to maybe help a guard or help a center with some of the back blocks or some of the gap schemes that we'll run. And then also may potentially, is there a pass that can come off of it? Is there somewhere where we can, benefit from having that fullback in the game? I think I noted we're at 30 for the year of having two receivers and a fullback in, and I think we're at like 12 plays or 15 plays for the year of having two tight ends and a fullback in the game. So probably like to get to a little bit more of that as the year has gone on, and certainly moving forward, I think there's a place for it.
Michael.
When you watched and coached Will and Gunnar the last two games, how would you rate their confidence level on the field?
Improving. I would say that they were certainly, at first I believe that there's a little bit of, can I do this? Question. Then it's, I can do this. And then it goes to, I'm excited about doing this. And then it goes to let it rip. We're not at the let it rip part yet. We got to get to that part where you feel that you can actually go out there and not just make a play, make the play. And we need to continue to build off of that. I believe repetitions is critical there. I believe feeling it from your teammates too. I think that Will really felt, that first half of football. I think he really felt a great amount of confidence from his guys. I think he would tell you that it diminished a little bit in his own mind when we made a mistake, and you can't do that. Like, guys are going to miss pros are going to miss a 3-foot putt every now and then. That doesn't mean they can't get off the tee and let a drive rip, and we are going to throw an interception. We're not going to be perfect. So get a stop, get a 3 and out, go back down, drive the ball, and complete the deep route you're supposed to throw rather than check it down.
I'm sorry, Justin.
At this point in the season, what do you think the identity of your offense is?
Methodical, but not at where we need to be in terms of we're lacking all explosiveness. We're at a point where, we're still number one in the Pac-12 in plays run, and yet we're averaging under 5 yards a play. We need to be able to stretch the field. We need to be able to make plays that are bigger than 10-yard gains. I think our 10-yard gains are like right in the middle of the pack, but our 20s and 30s and the ones that really change games are lacking. So we have to be able to, when shots called, take a shot. When chance to break a tackle. And then, we got to be able to be willing to take those chances. But right now we're also trying to play in a role of, how can you keep the game, in a manageable situation the whole game, which we've done. We just haven't been able to. The last 12 or 13 minutes of games have just completely gotten away from us.
Time for a couple more, Rich. You have one?
Yeah, follow back up on Will. How's he looked in practice this week? What were you able to correct, and what were you able to build on this week?
Yesterday was his best day of practice that he's had here since I've been here. I hope that correlates, but I'll say that there was a great confidence. There was a great deal of confidence on the field. He was, he was willing to do it. He was willing to go out and play free. And, he had confidence in, hey, that wasn't what I wanted. Run it again, bring the team back in, and be willing to almost step out of a comfort zone of not waiting for the coach to always say, do it again, or let's get another look at it. He was comfortable with it. And hopefully, maturity will set in, but we all still have to remember, Will was in a situation where he's still a freshman, so we have to help him get past that freshman hump and really believe like, hey, man, I can go do this.
We'll finish with Jay and Michael.
Going back to what you were saying a minute ago about, the offense, what do you attribute that to, the lack of big plays, the lack of stretching the field?
I think, you've got to be willing to take the chance to do it, first of all. You have to be willing to make a mistake, and not live in a world of fear. You have to have a lot of things that work together. Protection. You got to get the route run at the right depth. You got to be detailed in your route. You got to go up and make a play. You can't have a penalty callback explosive plays. There's a lot of things that go into it. I've been on teams where we've led the college and pro football in explosive plays, and now I've been on this one where we haven't. And we have to find a way that, like, when a chance to do it, you go do it. Now, I think a lot of it comes down to be willing, be able, and then, embrace the opportunity to. And I think, we got the second half of the season to do that the best we can.
Last one, Michael.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about a couple different guys. One is Kyle Osendorf. You obviously weren't here when he was a freshman, but he's raised his average by about 10 yards. Since then, what have you made of his contributions to the team?
The thing about the specialists in general is the one thing I noticed all offseason was how hard they worked in the weight room and how hard they worked in the Win First program that we did with Coach Owens and our ability to, those guys were like attacking conditioning and attacking strength and the strength program. And I think it's kind of showed up with his leg. I think his leg has showed up that he's gotten stronger. He's kicking the ball really well. Now we have to work on maybe pinning guys back a little bit and winning field position, but his mentality has been, those guys embrace, being the kicker, but also, Lucas and him and shoot, sometimes they look like linebackers out there the way they're attacking the conditioning drills.
Trayvon Mason told us the other day that he likes hard coaching and reminds him of his days when he was in junior college in Texas. What do you make of that comment, and then also like just how he's played?
Yeah, well, with Trey, he's improving, and you watch him film, and it's like, wow, there's some really good football out there. He's running to the ball, and he's trying to get in on plays. Obviously, he had a huge sack for us in a 9-point game to go 3 and out to give us the ball back. He's playing very physical. He needs to play, obviously, continue to get better each week. And I think the hard coaching is what's enabling him to just say, we're not going to give you a break, man. We're not going to give any of you guys a break, which has been also interesting because they all say they want to come back. Yet they're all sitting there going, this is they're constantly getting attacked and, getting, I would say, coached very hard. And the details are just, we're not going to let him slip by. But a guy like Trey has embraced getting coached very hard and also embraced on Saturday game day letting it rip. And what he's able to do is separate it. And he's able to say, hey, all week long in practice, you guys can get on me, but in the games, I'm ready to go let it fly. And I really appreciate that about Trey.
All right, thanks everybody, thanks coach.
Okay, thank you guys.